Hey guys and welcome. So I recently rewatched the movie Dogtooth and I immediately knew that I had to make a video about it. So then I got to thinking, what category could I even put this movie into? And then I realized that my reaction to it was kind of a category of its own. So in other terms, we'll be talking about movies that made me go, what the fuck did I just watch? And I'm sure we've all been there at some point or another. But for this video, I'll be focusing on movies where my reaction was on the positive end of the spectrum, as opposed to just being disgusted or completely put off by it. So let's dive in. For number one, let's start with a movie that gave me the idea for this video in the first place, Dogtooth. Directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, it's one of those movies that feels like a social experiment. It's technically a family drama, but only if your idea of family involves psychological manipulation, isolation, and the complete breakdown of reality. The story follows three adult siblings who have been raised entirely inside their parents' walled-off estate. As far as I can remember, we're never explicitly told the siblings' ages, but they look to be in their 20s. Despite being full-fledged adults, they still behave like young children. They've never seen the outside world, never met anyone else, and have been taught a twisted version of language. Words mean the wrong things, cats are deadly monsters, and airplanes sometimes fall into the yard as toys. The result is equal parts absurd, horrifying, and disturbingly believable. Also absolutely hilarious at times. The parents treat their home like a laboratory for control. They tell their kids that they'll be ready to leave once their dog tooth, meaning their canine tooth, falls out and grows back. Which will never happen, of course. It's a system built entirely on lies, one designed to keep the children dependent forever. There's no shouting or melodrama, just this eerie politeness that makes everything very uncomfortable. It's not even about the fact that they're trapped. It's that they don't know they're trapped. That's what makes Dogtooth hit so hard. Lanthimos films it all in these wide, emotionless shots that make you feel like you're observing animals rather than people. There's no music telling you how to feel, no comforting cues, just long stretches of stillness and small, awful details that start to pile up. Keep in mind, /trigger warning, one of the reasons that the movie made me ask myself, what the hell did I just watch, were the scenes of incest. The director's use of those was what really added to the feeling of pathology of the whole situation. Despite the humor that can be easily found in some of the father's behaviors, our laughter gets very quickly shut down by whatever the parents impose on their children next. What's genius about Dogtooth is how it works both as a family horror story and a political one. It's about control, obedience, and how easy it is to accept a lie if that's all you've ever known. The parents could represent dictators, religious authorities, or even society itself. Any system that feeds people falsehoods to keep them compliant. And the kids' blind acceptance isn't stupidity, it's survival, doing their best while following the rules of the game. Lanthimos uses absurdity to expose something terrifyingly real, that people will adapt to almost anything if you make it normal enough. If you don't want to know how the movie ends, please skip the next 20 seconds. I think this one feature is really worthwhile, so do pause if you haven't seen it. Okay, so in the end, one of the children finally tries to escape. It doesn't feel triumphant. It feels tragic. She's stepping into a world she's been taught to fear, carrying the scars of a life built on deception. You want her to make it, but you also know she'll never really be free. That's what Dogtooth leaves you with. Not fear, not even sadness, but this hollow kind of unease. It's a reminder that sometimes the scariest cages aren't the ones you can see, they're the ones built in your head. Number 2, Man. Directed by Alex Garland, it's one of those movies that starts out like a quiet psychological drama, and then slowly morphs into something very weird. The kind of film where you think you know what's happening until you realize you absolutely do not. It follows Harper, played by Jessie Buckley, who escapes to the English countryside after her husband's death, trying to heal from the trauma of an abusive relationship. The village she stays in looks peaceful at first, all green forests and quaint stone houses, but it quickly becomes clear that something is off. Every man she meets looks eerily similar, and before long, that creeping unease turns into a full-blown nightmare. On the surface, it feels like a haunted house story. A woman alone, strange noises in the dark, things watching her from the woods. The horror here isn't supernatural, it's systemic. Every man Harper encounters, the priest, the cop, the landlord, even a literal child, is played by the same actor. And each represents a different kind of threat, entitlement or dismissal. The effect is surreal and suffocating, like Harper's trapped inside the collective psyche of toxic masculinity. You can feel her sanity bending under the weight of being disbelieved, objectified, and blamed for her own pain. What's wild about Men is how it shifts from grounded psychological tension to full-on body horror. The final act goes completely off the rails, in the best way. It's grotesque, symbolic, and nearly impossible to explain without sounding insane. Let's just say there's a lot of birthing. Endless, self-replicating birthing. And it's equal parts fascinating and repulsive. But that's exactly Garland's point. The film becomes this nightmarish loop of creation and destruction, like trauma itself constantly regenerating. It's not meant to be understood literally. It's about the way pain, guilt, and fear keep reproducing themselves, generation after generation. Visually, it's gorgeous. Okay, maybe except for that last scene. All soft greens and eerie golden light. And the sound design? Absolutely haunting. There's a moment where Harper echoes her voice through a tunnel, and it comes back warped, layered, almost mocking. It's one of the best metaphors in the film. Trauma, especially the kind inflicted by manipulation and control, always echoes back distorted. You never quite escape it. It just changes shape. It's a movie about what happens when someone finally confronts the horror that's been quietly shaping their life, and discovers that it's not one monster chasing them, but an entire system wearing different faces. But back to the premise of the video, the imagery in the movie will definitely have you looking at the person you're watching it with, mouthing to them, "Why did we pick this movie?" Not because it's bad, but because of how insanely weird it is. Number 3, Crimes of the Future. Directed by David Cronenberg, the master of all things weird, fleshy, and philosophical. It's basically a story about how humans have evolved past pain, and now surgery has become both an art form and a kink. Yeah, people literally get off on cutting each other open. It sounds insane, but Cronenberg treats it with this calm, almost meditative tone that makes it even more unsettling. We follow Saul Tenser, played by Viggo Mortensen, a performance artist whose body keeps growing mysterious new organs. His partner, Caprice, performs life surgeries to remove them in front of an audience. It's part art, part science, part religion. The world they live in is quiet, dying, and weirdly beautiful. Like humanity's gone numb, and this is the only way people can still feel something. Under all the body horror and sci-fi weirdness, Crimes of the Future is really about change. How far we can push ourselves before we stop being human. The whole movie feels like it's asking, is this evolution or self-destruction? The performances are super subdued. The sound design is gross in a way you can feel. Seriously, every squelch and click makes your skin crawl. And the cinematography makes the most disgusting moments look elegant. It's like if art museums started holding autopsies. But here's the thing. For all of its shocking imagery, I don't think the movie is really trying to gross you out. Okay, maybe a little bit, but that's not the whole point. The movie's kind of sad. Everyone in it is lonely, confused. trying to find meaning in a world that's already fallen apart. They talk about their bodies the way people used to talk about their souls. And that's what makes it hit harder than you'd expect. It's not about the future of humanity. It's about what we lose when everything becomes numb, when pain and pleasure are the same thing. It's like watching the end of one version of humanity and the awkward, painful birth of the next. It's quiet, gross, and oddly beautiful. Definitely not a movie for everyone, but if you're into strange, thought-provoking, deeply unsettling sci-fi that sticks in your brain for days, this one's hard to forget. If you have seen number 4, please let me know, as I have yet to meet anyone who has seen this movie. And number 4 is Delicatessen. Directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro, is one of those movies that manages to be bleak, beautiful, and completely bizarre all at once. It's set in the crumbling, post-apocalyptic France, where food is scarce and survival has become an art form, or in this case, a butcher's craft. The story centers on a run-down apartment building where the landlord, who also happens to be a butcher, keeps his tenants fed through some morally questionable means. Into this strange little ecosystem walks Louison, a gentle former clown who takes a job as the handyman, unaware that he's basically been hired as the next meal on the menu. The tone of Delicatessen is what makes it so unforgettable. It's dark, yes, but it's also funny, in that kind of twisted French way where the humor is equal parts charming and disturbing. The world Jeunet and Caro built is small, but meticulously detailed. Sepia tones, creaky plumbing, mechanical contraptions that look like they're cobbled together from junkyard dreams. Every frame feels handmade, cluttered, and alive. It's a dystopia that's somehow cozy. You can almost smell the dust and rust, the damp wallpaper, and faint metallic scent of old blood. Delicatessen really is a movie, unlike anything I've ever seen before. What's interesting is that despite being about cannibalism, the movie never feels grim in the traditional sense. There's a kind of sad whimsy to it. The tenants are eccentric and desperate, but weirdly endearing, and the love story between Louison and the butcher's daughter gives the film a beating heart underneath all the absurdity. Even as the story turns violent and surreal, there's a tenderness that keeps slipping through. Jeunet's style here would later evolve into something more polished in Amélie, but Delicatessen is his grimier, stranger masterpiece. It's a movie about survival, exploitation, and love in the ruins. A fairy tale for a world that's already eaten itself. It's grotesque, romantic, and completely its own thing. A reminder that sometimes the end of the world isn't all ash and despair. Sometimes it's brass instruments, bad plumbing, and a bit of dark laughter echoing through the pipes. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching me talk about my 4 picks for movies that weirded me out, but in a good way. If you have seen any of those, and again, especially Delicatessen, please let me know. And as always, if you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.